Welcome back. Today I'm going to be tying up the Montreal Whore. This pattern is classically tied with a white marabou wing, but today I'm going to be tying a alternative version with a Featherwing, basically a rooster saddle hackle, 4 of those as the wing in place of the marabou. So I'm going to put my hook in the vise and start my thread. I'm using 210 UTC thread because it is a little thicker and builds up the body quicker than a smaller, like size 70 or 140. Wrap a even base down to the point of the hook. This does take some time. Now this fly has a couple of names. It's obviously known as the Montreal Whore. It's known as the Montreal Floozy, the Montreal Courtesan, a few names that's acquired throughout the years. I think the man credited with tying this, Lenny Louisel, I believe his name is. I think he'd appreciate the original name being kept to this fly. I know I would if I designed a fly. Alright, down to the point of the hook, snip off the tag end here. I've got my Danville's size 12 silver mylar tinsel. Just going to slide this up under the thread here. Take about 3 wraps. Make sure it's secure. Now I'm going to wrap this tag. And it can be tough to get past the point of the hook here without nicking your tinsel. You can see I'm kind of struggling. It doesn't really want to seat in there properly. So I'm just going to tie this off. And work my way back up to the hook eye. I think if you really wanted this to be neat, then you should probably trim it off and then incorporate a new piece of tinsel as your rib piece, but for the sake of time management, I'm just going to use this tag piece as the rib piece. Give my bobbin a little spin here. That will flatten out this UTC thread and make it easier to cover. Alright, now it's time to tie in the floss. I've got some Danville's 4-strand orange floss. It's kind of a fluorescent, bright orange, just a rich orange. It's not like that light orange you see on your traditional gray ghost. I'm just going to tie this in with a few turns at the head, and I'm going to leave it right here, and I'm going to wrap all the way down with the floss, and then I'm going to wrap all the way back up. Throw a half hitch in there. Oops. Yeah, my vise is not the best vise, guys. Definitely gives me a hard time. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to wrap down to the point of the hook. Try to keep the floss nice and flat so that it doesn't make any bumps. Oops. And if you mess up, just take a few turns backwards and continue. And then back up towards the hook eye. And because I've done 2 rows of floss here, that pretty much ensures that there won't be any other color showing through, like the white of the thread. And once you get up here to the hook eye, take a few turns over the floss. Snip it off. Throw a half hitch in so that your floss body doesn't come unraveled, because that could be heartbreaking. And wrap the rib. So wrap your silver rib. Try to get this a little more even. There we go. It's good enough for me. Take a few turns. Secure the tinsel. Throw a half hitch in so your tinsel doesn't come unraveled, and snip off the tag end. I'm going to grab some blue bucktail. I'm going to pick out all the fluff and the long hairs and the short hairs. I'm just going to try to get a group of hairs here that's similar in length, but I don't like to stack my hairs, especially for this pattern. I just like the look of them being slightly off. Clearly personal preference. Do tie it how you like. As Davey McPhail would say, it's your fly, tie it how you like. So I've got that in. Now I'm going to grab some red bucktail. I'm going to do the same. Take the long fibers, the short fibers out, till I'm left with a clump that's about the same size. And I'll tie this in on top. Now, I'm going to try not to put too much pressure right here, because if I do, it'll make that deer hair stand straight up. So just loose wraps here, and that will keep that deer hair looking nice. And then snip it off. And that looks pretty good. Alright, now's the hard part. So I'm going to grab my white saddle hackle feathers, 2 of them per side. So I'll start with this side here. I'm going to line them up. Try to get a length that looks good. Just peel off the extra fibers here. Sorry if that's out of focus, guys. Pull it back in here. There. And that's a pretty good length, you know, just past the bend of the hook. A little longer than your bucktail. Now I'll try the other side here. And I gotta move my thread back to the very end of the head here. So I can tie these in. Alright, I'm gonna tie them both in at the same time. Put one on, grab the other pair, put that on. Loose wraps. And once you get down towards the end here, you can put a little more pressure on if you're happy with the way it looks. Let's take a look. I think that looks alright. I might have stripped a little too much fibers off of the base of the feather. The links aren't lining up perfect, but I don't think the fish are going to care so much. So I'm going to continue with it. I think it looks pretty good. Snip off the stems after you fold them back in. Grab your jungle cock eyes. I've only got big feathers left, unfortunately. I'm pretty much out of jungle cock here. I think I'd prefer to use feathers that were just slightly smaller, but I'm going to use what I got today. And that doesn't look too bad for being just slightly oversized, so I think I'll go with that. Strip off the fluff at the bottom of the feather. And see how this looks. Alright, I'm going to throw a couple half hitches in because I have to switch my thread up to black. This is black head on this pattern. So I'm going to switch up to some black 70 denier UTC. Snip this white thread off. Some black on. And I'll clean this black up at the end when I'm done. Alright, so let's get the jungle cock feathers on. Just like the wings, you can do one at a time or both at the same time. The jungle cock feathers, I prefer to do one at a time here. And I'm going to fold the stems back, tie those in, cut them off, and now just build up a nice neat head here. Make sure the black thread is covering the whole thing. Get my whip finish tool out, make a nice neat finish. And snip off the thread. Now add your head cement or Sally Hansen's. I'm going to start with one coat of Sally Hansen's, and once this is done drying, I'll put another one on. 2 to 3 coats is all you need. But you definitely do need at least 2 coats of this if you're going to use just Sally Hansen's. But that is the finished fly, guys. That is the Montreal Whore Featherwing streamer. It's a great variation on a classic pattern. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You can tie some up and catch some fish with it. Catch you next time.